Over the last couple of years of building stuff on this channel, lots of different servers, Proxmox servers, network labs, cybersecurity labs, containers, I have built so much shit that I've genuinely forgotten half of it exists. Over the last couple of weeks, I've started to try and clean up all of this mess, and I just realized I am in dire need of some sort of monitoring tool. Now, I have went and I built Uptime Kuma. I've added all of my different workloads. I have created a number of different status pages. I did my Telegram notifications. I actually get a message if something goes down, and that's what I want to show you today. I want to go through this entire build. I want to show you Uptime Kuma. We're going to build it. We're going to add some workloads. We're going to set up notifications. We're going to go through the entire process. So I want to show you what I have actually set up. So I've got Uptime Kuma, and as you can see, I've added a number of my different workloads down here. Proxmox servers, I've got my networks, I've got some of my containers and applications that I use. And there's also a status page. So I have these two status pages. This tells me pretty much everything. It shows me all of the servers that are online, the network, and then the actual infrastructure itself. As you can see, I have two Proxmox nodes down. That's fine. I've just unplugged them for the moment. Now, before I go into show you all of this here, let's go back to the start. I'm actually going to show you how you can get Uptime Kuma installed. I am going to install it on Proxmox because that's just where I run everything. But if you come over here to the Uptime Kuma website, you can see there is a number of ways you can actually build this. You can build it on a Windows server, on Windows 10. You can use Docker. It's probably the easiest way to do it. And then you can also build it on Linux, Ubuntu, Debian. There's a few different ways you can build it. Because I am running this on Proxmox, I am going to use one of the community scripts. It is so simple to do. This is it here. All you have to do is come in here. You want to copy this script. All you have to do is then come over to Proxmox. You want to right click on your node where you want to build it. Go into shell. All you do is paste it in. Then it's going to run through the actual Uptime Kuma wizard, which is really simple. You have a few different options. I'm just going to go default. Then it's going to ask me the storage pool for the container. I am just going to choose that. So I'm going to use this one. Which storage pool for the container? Again, I'm going to use this one. So that is going to go off now and go through the install and get Uptime Kuma up and going for you. You don't have to do anything else. When it is finished, you will actually come back and you'll see this. This is what it looks like. It goes through all of these different checks and it does all these updates. And then it gives you the IP address and then the port and stuff. So everything is there that you need to get logged in. Now, before we do that, I want to show you how you can update this to the next version whenever it does come out. The good thing about using those community scripts is it's updatable. So if a new version of Uptime Kuma comes out, all you have to do, I'm going to leave that. All you have to do is come over here. You want to grab this again. As you can see here, this says updatable. So copy that script again. You're going to come back over to this Proxmox server. This is the container that we built. You want to go into the console. From in here, all I would have to do now is literally paste that script in, hit enter, and that is going to go through and it's going to check for updates and it's going to basically just do all of the updates for me. This is why using those community scripts just make things so much easier. Okay, so we have Uptime Kuma deployed. I've opened it up here in a new tab. Now, the first thing you're going to see, it's going to ask you to choose sort of which database you would like to use. You can use MariaDB or MySQL, or you can just use SQLite. I'm just running this at home, so SQLite is completely fine for me. I'm just going to hit that, click on next. Let's then create an account. I'll put in a random password. Hit create, and that is it. So this is the base tool. This is exactly what it looks like. If you want to go and start adding new things that you want to monitor, you're just going to click add monitor. And in here, it's going to give you all of the options that you can choose. Under monitor type, as you can see here, there's literally so many different ways that you can monitor different services. You can use DNS, ping, HTTPS, Docker containers, there's SNMP. There's literally so much stuff that you can actually use here. I'm just going to be really simple here, and I'm just going to choose ping for the moment. I wanted to show you the process, how it works. Let's just give this a friendly name. So let's say we want to monitor one of our networks. I'll say VLAN, let's go VLAN 10. I'll put in 1096.10.254 is the default gateway for that network. Okay, you can leave all of this stuff just as default for now. I'm just going to click on save. Straight away, that's going to go out. That's going to try and ping that IP. Obviously, the IP is up, so you can see here it says 100%, so that just means that it's online. You can add other services. I have a number of different applications that I use. Say, for example, I wanted to monitor Audio Bookshelf. This is the tool that I use. The URL that I have, audiobooks Jared.ws. I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to show you something. So I'm just going to click on save. Now the reason this is actually saying 100% is I use all of my applications. I have certificates all done through NGINX Proxy Manager. Now, if you don't have that in place, you will probably see that this will actually be down. So all you would have to do is come in here, hit edit. You want to go down here. You might want to just hit this one, ignore TLS SSL errors. If you hit on that, click on save. That's actually just going to ignore the certificate error on that website and just tell you if the website is reachable or not. It is really, really easy to get this entire tool up and going. If I pop back over to my home monitoring setup here, so this is everything that I've got set up running at home. If I go back to the dashboard, you will see all of these different services that I've set up. So I've set up all of my tools, the Docker server, I've got my NAS, NGINX, Portainer. I've loads of different things that I'm monitoring here. Now, if you've done this in a corporate environment, if you've done monitoring of applications and servers and stuff, then a status page is actually really, really helpful. I'm sure you've seen these everywhere. They're really, really easy to set up. So if I go back over to this one, I'm going to click on status pages and I want to add a new one. Just click on new, just give it a name. I don't know, home status. Under the slug, I'm just going to call this home. Then I'm going to go next. Now this is the status page up and going. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually add the services that we want to show on this status page. I can add a group. You can leave it as services, or you can actually give it a name. Test services. Then we want to add the monitor. So this is the two different things that we've added, so we can add them. And then all you have to do is click on save, and that is it. So this is your status page. Now you can see this is just giving you an idea of if this service is up or down. Now one of the really cool things is you can actually post incidents and stuff on this page. If we pop back over to my one, I'm going to show you this networks. So in here, I've actually added these two incidents. Again, I'm sure you've seen this in an enterprise environment. You know, you could put and post messages in here. If there is an ongoing issue, you can at least alert the users that something is ongoing and you know about it and it's being worked on. And if you have a large company or a large group of users that you're monitoring applications for, then this is just a good way to let them know that something's happening. So one of the biggest things about monitoring your networks is notifications. You're not going to sit and look at status pages and come in here and check this all the time. You need to be notified. Like, you're going to build this, add all your workloads, and then probably ignore it until you get a notification. What I've done in my house is I've actually integrated Telegram. So whenever something goes down, I get a Telegram notification to my phone to tell me that it's actually offline. Then I can just go and try and figure it out. It is really, really easy to set up. So let's go back over to this one. I'm going to go to the dashboard and I'm going to click on Audio Bookshelf. I'm going to go and edit, and over here in the corner you can see notifications. This is how we can set them up. So if you click on Setup Notification, as you can see here, you've got a whole bunch of different options and different ways that you can actually be notified about an incident. There's so many different ways you can do it. If I go all the way back up, I want to go back and choose Telegram. Where is it? There it is there. Then I have to give this a friendly name. My Telegram alert. Telegram alerting. Now bot token, so this is where you have to enable the bot that's going to actually control the message. So all you have to do is click on this link. That is going to bring you over to this. Now I have Telegram, I have the app installed on my Mac. If you don't have it, I would say, yeah, just get the Telegram app installed, and that way whenever you click on open link to set this up, you are going to get this. Let me just drag it down here. You can see this is the bot message. So it's asking me here now to set up a new bot. So all I want to do here is click on create a new bot. That's going to say, all right, new bot, how are you going to call it? Please choose a name for your bot. I'm going to call this Jared Up. Jared's Uptime Kuma. Now it's going to ask me to choose our username. Now this has to be unique. This is like a Telegram user, so you need to choose something that's actually unique. Again, I'm just going to choose something easy. One thing I forgot, it does have to end in bot, so let's do that again. Perfect. So once you've done that, it gives you this this token. I'm just going to click on this. You see, if you move your mouse over, you can click on it and it is copied to clipboard. So I'm going to go back over here to Uptime Kuma and I'm going to import the bot token, paste it in there. Now, if I hit an auto get, I'm going to get an error message here. It says the chat ID is not found. The way you get around that is you have to go back to Telegram. You actually have to send a message to that name first. So let's grab this name and I'm going to copy that username. Then I am going to go and send a new message. I'm going to start a message, say hello. So now that I've done that, if I go back over here to Uptime Kuma, that account should be active. If I hit auto get, that should now find my chat ID like it has here. Then all you have to do is go down here. I'm going to click on save, and that's it done. That is the Telegram integrated bot. It's so easy to set up. Now I can't go back in here and I can actually test that. So if I click on test, let me just open that again. You can see here now. So this is Telegram alerting testing. So that has actually sent a test to this. Now on my phone, I've also got that notification. It's just within the Telegram app. So there you go. It is so easy to actually set this up. So that's it. Very quick and simple video. I just wanted to show you how to actually properly monitor all of your things, all your applications and servers. It's going to make your life much easier, especially if you're like me and you're building lots of different tools and services on your home network or even your cybersecurity stuff. It is always good to have something monitoring. There is one last thing that I want to show you. If you notice here on mine, I actually have a URL that I use for my Uptime Kuma. It's monitoring.jar.ws. I've actually done that using NGINX Proxy Manager, and I've created an entire video to show you how you can actually build a proxy manager on your home network. It is a really good video if you're building lots of different services. DNS names are just much easier to remember than IPs and ports. I'll leave the link here. That's a really good video to watch. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.